What's up,
Yeah.
dude?
Hey, how you doing?
Good in yourself, man.
Very well, very well.
Awesome, man. Yeah, well, I was just saying to people, yeah, I'm so starting to do the Pro Fun Ever podcast now live on my Instagram, and then afterwards, this will all be available on Spotify and all the platforms. But before I get a hold of myself here, for the people that are joining now, the my following stuff that don't follow you, elevator pitch. Who is John?
That's a good question. I guess you could wrap me up as a free rider, a content creator, and a bike builder. I guess I don't really have one specialty. Maybe jack of all trades,
Yeah.
master of none. But yeah, that's sort of where I'm at these days. Yeah.
No, dude, I think your whole motto now gave guys like myself hope on the riding side. Not that I'll ever do the jumps and the free rides and the freestyle stuff that you do, but the whole being able to create content and able to be a rider in that sense, because I think that's where the economy has grown to, and that's why I initially found your content, because that's the type of content I was interested in. Is guys that were documenting the journey and were not just going out and riding in the hills, but making something cool about riding and doing these cool projects and stuff like that. And I think it's a rare thing these days. Well, maybe it's across the world. It's more common practice, but in South Africa, it's a rare thing to get guys to actually pay attention to the content side, and then finding guys like yourself that like make it a thing of making cool content. I mean, even if you sell a bike, you go and take cool photos of the bike just to make it extra little attractive to it. I did the same thing. I'm selling my KTM now, and my first thought came to mind is your photos of your bike, saying, "Oh, cool, okay, this bike will sell." I'm like, I have to go take out the camera and take some cool photos. I can't just take photos of the
Yeah.
bike with my phone and put them on Marketplace.
Well, absolutely. It's just one of those things. I think for me, I've just combined two of my passions, like content creation and motor. And I'm just like you said, try and go that extra mile, like try and document these riding trips. Like for me, I go over to the States a fair bit riding, and me 10 years ago would have dreamt to have been able to do that and to see that and see behind the scenes and see how it happens and see who I'm hanging out with. So for me, yeah, a huge part of it is documenting it, A, because I love it, and B, because I want to share it with, riders like yourself who come across my platforms and going, oh, this is sick. This dude's basically,
Yeah.
come out of nowhere or from nothing, and he's interested in the things that I'm interested in, and he's doing the things that, I'd love to be doing. So, yeah, for me, it just ticks a lot of boxes, and I'm super, super grateful for what I'm able to do now because of it.
No, but I think that, so I take it, that's what you do for a living, is the content creation and writing. That's your full-time passion, right? Or full-time job, as if I say like that.
Yeah, so I'm actually a content creator by trade, you might
Mm.
say. I work for a lot of businesses. I'm super lucky to work for brands like Trek Bikes. I've worked with Ford Australia, Boost Mobile, Thor MX, just to sort of name off a few. And through that, I try and like plan my shoots around, working internationally. Like I've done mountain biking events and things like that. And now I'm doing the Freestyle Kings tour. I'm doing a few events for them. So I'm just like, I basically plan my year around riding, around the working, and it kind of sort of seems to all link in together really well.
Dude, I think that's like the perfect model to have, because like you get to do what you love in the photography side, and then you still get to ride. I mean, like recently, I don't like you planned this whole US trip. Unfortunately, you got injured in that with your jump at Twitch's place, but like seeing your content, I actually wish that I could go there and like I could pay for a full-time filmer to follow you on these things, because it's such cool missions, and there needs to be more content like that. And not just more content, because you can go on YouTube now and type in motor vlog and you'll find a hell of a lot of people there. But like
Yeah.
if people know your content, there's always that little added extra. It needs to look professional. Like most of your stuff, it looks like there's a lot of effort and thought gone into it. It's not just a snap, oh yeah, cool, look at my nice bike, and gone to it. Like even your vlogs, like I think that's probably why like you take a while to create them, or that makes a few of them, because of the effort that goes into making them.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Like that's one of the things. And this year, the vlog and the YouTube has definitely been like my goal and my focus, and that's where I want to put my energy in. Obviously, just getting injured and having no arms doesn't really help that. But yeah, as far as like for me, like I've got the camera equipment, like you've got the camera equipment. Now it's just about your effort and your attitude. Like, yes, YouTube and that is hard to break into. And yes, I want to break into that. But all that comes down to is how much time and effort I put into that. And, so for me this year, like that's been the biggest thing. It's like, okay, like that US vlog wasn't exactly meant to turn out the way it was. It was meant to be me documenting a new goggle company coming to the market, going to Utah, working with some of the gnarliest mountain bike riders in the world, being out in the hills digging and kind of showing like the behind the scenes of all these like epic projects that I was working on. And unfortunately it didn't go the way I was hoping it would. But, as far as the whole content thing, I do try and put a lot of effort in because I want people to watch it and be like, holy shit, that was sick. And I'd love to get to the stage, like you said, where you have a filmer. Whereas like I don't have to do as much of the labor, but I think like anything, dude, you got to start from the bottom and you got to work your ass off and work your way up to it.
No, exactly, and that's the thing. I think everyone says, okay, yeah, no, but it's easy when you have a filmer, but none of them realize like you have to start alone. It's all about that solo filming. It's like taking your GoPro along wherever. Like I remember when I started my vlogs, it was, and I still majority use my GoPro because I'm firstly scared of just like crashing with my camera or like some damaging my equipment, and then I can't do my other work. But so I usually take a GoPro with, set it up, talk in public. And I remember you mentioning like in one of your vlogs that like getting used to talking in public and like just walking around the airport and that people like, everyone's like, oh, they want to vlog like Casey Neistat. But like, I highly doubt you'll be able to like film in public like they do and stuff. And it takes practice. It's all just about practice in that sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Practice is such a massive part of it. And I've started to already get a little bit more confident talking into the camera, and that's from the bike builds at home. So I'm at home. I know I can look into the camera. It's scary, but it's not that bad. And like over the last couple of years, or mainly over the last 12 months, I've done a lot more of the bike builds at home and things like that. And I have started to get a little bit more confident. But as soon as I go outside, like I said, in the airport, like, dude, I just want to be transparent to everyone because, dude, I'm standing there, I'm shitting myself. I feel like I look like an idiot. Yet if I see someone else do it, I'm like, oh, that's sick, they're filming. And like, I never think twice about it, but because when it's you just assume they're watching you. They're like, oh my God, what's this weirdo doing? But it's just about, letting your guard down and just being like, hey, dude, like if someone has a problem with it, that's on them. That's not really on me. I'm still going to do what I want to do.
No, I think that's the perfect outlook to have. And I think, I can't remember the creator, and I always reference to this, and they say, like, everybody around you is actually paying more attention to their own lives than to you. They might give you a quick glance and then like, what the hell is that guy doing, and go on with their lives. And actually in today's age, that's more realized to be like, I remember, like, so my brother is not into this whole YouTube world or anything. Like, me and him are kind of complete opposites in that. And he saw someone at the airport and he messaged me and said, dude, I think I saw a vlogger at the airport. And I'm like, dude, wait. This is like, there was this guy filming himself on his phone. I'm like, okay, well, first of all, it might just be a guy video calling somebody. He's like, no, holding it up in front of him, filming like that. And I'm like, 10-1 a vlogger. So it's becoming like a thing of people like in the back of their head when they see someone filming them, they're not like, oh, who's this weirdo taking selfies in the airport? They're like, okay, that guy might be making a vlog, they might be making content, and it's becoming slowly but surely more acceptable in that sense.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is that slowly but surely more acceptance is like that dude with his iPhone or GoPro at the airport could be making $5,000 a week from those big videos. So it's like, who's laughing now? That dude's doing what he loves. He's doing things that might be uncomfortable or were uncomfortable to him, but now he's comfortable. He's happy to hold his phone up at the airport or wherever it is in a public place. And from that, he's built a successful business. I'm like, dude, that's where I'd love to be at one day for sure.
100%, John. No, and that's the model. So now you also not in the starting phase, because I can't say like you're still in the starting phase. Obviously, you feel like you're still there, but now you've come a long way. What kind of initiated that journey for you? Because like now, guys coming up can look at guys like yourself and say, hey, I want to be this guy that rides moto and does content and does all these things. But who was your inspiration when you started that journey?
Dude, to be honest, I think it comes from within. Like, it was like a gut feeling. Like, it's like something that, because I've had jobs in the past that, like I've worked in construction and things like that. And now that I'm out of those and I'm doing what I'm doing, I feel like these adventures and like all this traveling is like things that people might be interested in. So I'm like, dude, I want to do it because I think it's cool in a sense. Like I like what I'm doing and I want to be able to not show it off, but showcase what I'm doing. And like the people that I'm meeting, the people that I'm surrounding myself by, like the riders I'm riding with and things like that. Like 15-year-old me would have lost his mind at seeing these kind of things, especially being that it was me. So I think for me, it comes from within. And then, man, I don't know. No, it's just like again comes back to the passion. Like I just really want to do it. Like I feel like it's something that I've wanted to do. It's just I've just been too scared to do it. And then I listened to a lot of podcasts and a lot of self-help things, and just like the thing that sort of resonated with me recently was someone's like, dude, at the end of the day, the people's opinions that you are thinking about, like they're not even thinking about you. Like other people's thoughts that you create in your head, like other people aren't even thinking about you, bro. They're worried about their problems and their things. And like at the end of the day, we're all going to die. So what does it even matter? Even those people that talk shit on you, it doesn't matter. Like we're all dying. And like as morbid as what it sounds, it's like true. You know what I mean? And they're like, dude, if you zoom out far enough, you can't even see the world. Like I just listen to so many podcasts and like things like that. And like, dude, if you want to do it, just do it. You know, and that's like, so at the start of this year, I really promised myself, I'm like, okay, I'm going to invest into the YouTube. Like, yeah, my Instagram and that has a half decent following and things like that. But I've never really pushed into like opening up my life so people can get to know me more and my adventures more and what I sort of get up to more. And that's where I think you can with YouTube, with like the longer form sort of videos.
But now, so you would also have thought about it, like trying to convert your Instagram audience to funnel them to YouTube, because like now you're trying to get those audience across there. But what made you decide to make that content on YouTube specifically? Is it purely because like with the end goal of monetizing it, or like it being a more homey platform for longer form content?
I think, to be honest, both. I think the financial incentive is massive there, and it's like, okay, you can have millions of views on Instagram, but you get nothing out of it apart from, you know, followers, which are great as far as leverage for brands and things like that. But you can put those views to dollars on YouTube. Like for me, that makes a lot of sense. And then also being able to do the longer form, like the longer form to me is like something that really interests me. So you can actually sit down there and have a conversation to the camera as opposed to trying to bang out and edit within 15 seconds.
Yeah. I think definitely it's the case, and it also the longer form content feels more at home on. It's the same reason with the podcast that I'm doing. I'm doing the live. It's basically a reward for the people that like join up first, but then after this, I'm trying to funnel people to Spotify to listen to the podcast full time there, to listen to the whole conversation there. And I feel like Instagram is a place where we can, let's say your quote now about that you were saying about like your people not caring about that, and like I can clip that and take that into a short form video, but it won't make sense for me to put this, because this whole live is going to be on my profile, but it's not going to get as much views if I put the same live on YouTube, because the YouTube feels like you can go on. I've so many times like turned on YouTube while I'm working and you watch someone's vlog and you can see, oh, the vlog is up at 45 minutes long, and I'm like, oh, it's long, but I would intensively watch it, but you'll have it on, and then every now and then there's something interesting. There's a channel that I follow called Grind Hard Plumbing Co, and they always have like these insane builds, like they'll build the coolest stuff in that, but it's very insightful to watch the thing, but I won't sit there like a movie and watch it the whole time, but I'll have it on while I'm busy working with designing something or creating something and that. But I won't do the same with Instagram. I won't have an Instagram on next to me, like my Instagram, and just watch a long form video, whatever. I might be on a live or something, but yeah, it feels, the long form content feels more, even though platforms like TikTok are now encouraging people to put long form stuff on there, I don't feel that people watch long form content on their phone in that matter, or on Instagram or TikTok or those platforms for that matter.
No, and I totally agree. And that's kind of why I am leaning into the YouTube this year, just for like, so you can like our conversation right now, if I'm doing the bike build or if I'm going on a trip overseas, like I can actually talk about it, what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, how I'm doing it. And sort of open up to your audience a little bit, and like, you know, try and create a bit of a community in a sense. Like I've got a bunch of cool things planned this year that I really want to help the Australian playing moto community. Like I want to build it up. It's a sport that I love so much. And it's like, if me opening up about it on my platforms and on my YouTube is going to help that, then, you know, I'm all for it. And if that means going to a new platform where there are no viewers at this stage, then man, I guess just starting from the bottom, but it's something that I'm more than happy to do because it's something that I'm super passionate about.
And I think you mentioning that they're starting from the bottom, I think that's what also most people are scared of and why they also stick to one platform. If they are TikTok famous, they stick on TikTok and they try not to funnel their people anywhere else except on that platform because they're so scared of seeing like people starting a new YouTube channel and then expanding their brand per se. And then like people say, oh, but you like I think you have 40,000 plus followers on Instagram, and now suddenly you've got 500 subscribers. Like, what the hell going on here? Like, why does your YouTube suck? That's basically the comment. And people, I think people are scared of those comments, and then it takes someone to say, well, hey, join me on this journey, and like this is what I'm doing here, this is what I'm doing there, and I'm trying to get you guys to go and watch the long form content there. So if you join me here, you'll like the long form content that I'm putting up that side.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think that's why I have made little comments in my videos about going like, hey, I'm super uncomfortable here doing this right now. Like, this is cringe to me. Like, in my first vlog, I mentioned, I'm like, dude, I'm cringing posting this. And I absolutely was. And I still am because, I mean, they have like 400 views. And I was like, you put your ass off to make a video that's pretty epic at 400 views. Like, you're kidding? Like, I'm not even getting the hours up or anything like that. But it's one of those things. It's like, yeah, but if that's a grind that you got to, you know, or if that's where you got to start from, dude, then let's do it. Like, challenge accepted, because I hope one day that I can look back on there and be like, oh, it was so worth it, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No, but that's why I've said to, so my message and actually one of my like business partners here and the voter, the black sheep, we have this message of telling the guys, like the guys in our scene that we're trying to convince. I always say, I have this motto: document the journey, and that's my motto with my film and photography. It doesn't matter if you're in the race and you for the guy that comes 15th or the guy that podiums. Document the journey, because you're gonna, like you say now, you're gonna look back at that. Because I'm so cool, because now I've my YouTube channel, I started with the slow to pro journey, showing people like, hey, look, I am dog shot on a dirt bike, and I'm still dog shot on a dirt bike, but I'm growing there. And I'm like, I'm racing in the pro am class. I'm not the pro guys chasing this and this championships and that. I'm starting out. And the cool thing that I've noticed is a lot more people can relate to me. Like, I've had like all the guys. There's a guy in his 50s. I showed where, so I can't jump a bike. Well, I can now a little bit. I started on one of the motocross tracks, started jumping the bikes and stuff. And I'm like, so I got a guy messaging me, and he's in his 50s. I think he said he's 54. He said, dude, this week I'm buying an old bike. I'm going to go buy a secondhand bike, and I'm starting riding again because I saw you riding, and you like, because I'm now 33, and I only started riding when I was 30. So I've been riding bikes for 33 years now.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, it's not too late to ride. So I'm like, that to me, like showing me like, okay, learning to jump and being scared to case a jump and all those things provides more value to the community, to the up and coming rider, to go to a local dealership and buy a bike then. So, because 9 times out of 10, because I saw a video of Antonio Caroli like railing a corner, like that video was a definition of corner speed, but nobody that rides on our local track here can relate to that. No one, it's amazing to watch, and that video is going to go viral 10 to 1, but no one can relate to Antonio Caroli just fucking railing a corner. But so seeing me that, oh, look here, I started like flipping the throttle through the corner and struggling and like falling over and that, and now I can actually start going smoothly through, and this is what I've learned, and like sharing that type of information, I feel is more valuable than like following. And not that I'm saying like I won't watch the Deegan's vlogs, or I won't watch Justin Barshaw's vlogs, or your vlogs where you like jumping these big jumps and like doing cool things where I'm can't aspire to. That's still cool things to watch, but I think more people should document the journey. It just, even if the fact is that you have something to watch back on. If I'm starting this vlog and I do it for 5 years and I'm 50 years old, I can go and be like, oh, look at this 30-year-old idiot trying to ride a bike. It's still something cool to look back on, instead of just forgetting about all those things and not having it documented in that sense.
Yeah. And I think, like you said, the biggest word you said then was being relatable. You know, so many people want to watch something that they can have some form of relation on. And if
Yeah.
that's, you know,
Yeah.
learning how to jump or being nervous going to a track for the first time,
Yeah.
or, you know, vlogging for the first time and shitting your pants doing it, or, you know, doing a podcast for the first time and not really sure how to do it or where to do it or why to do it. But I think it all comes back to like you enjoy riding bikes. So it's like you want to post about it because you enjoy it, and it's a journey that you're really enjoying it. It's a journey that you're passionate about. So why not share it with the world? And, you know, and you're here to learn about it. And dude, there's a really good chance that someone in the comments not only will want to follow that journey, but will also want to help you in that journey if they can, and be like, oh, dude, that's so sick.
Yeah.
Like, keep at it, or hey man, maybe try and keep your elbows up as you're jumping.
100%.
You know, and like,
Yeah.
you can really find some good people through there. Like, yes, on social media it's scary because everyone has a voice, so from time to time you are going to get blasted and peppered for something. But we're bound to. I mean, I've had my fair share for sure. But yeah, I think being relatable and just being yourself is just like the key right there. And what you're doing is obviously awesome and something that you're really passionate about. So it's like it seems like a win-win.
No, exactly. And I think that's why, like, I enjoy your content and that as well, because in some form there's also a journey to it. I mean, you could have just kept quiet about your US trip and completely and said, okay, well, hey, well, I crashed on the first jump and that, but you actually made it into something. Like, you know, like I was watching the vlog and that, and I said to my fiance, I'm like just for a second think of like the emotions that you've gone through, and like when you landed there and rode off your bike, like I couldn't imagine like how to like deal with that type of feelings and stuff like that, because you planned this whole thing, you at the start, it's still a long way, now this happens. And I think that's like that, in a sense, sharing that and being open and honest, and having the whole internet or the whole 44,000 of your followers telling you how to take a shit, or how do you wipe your ass with or 2 almonds. But like that is the type of thing that's I think it makes it a little bit more transparent in that sense, because you could just share like the cool videos and the cool stuff and that, but sharing the injuries and like you recovering from that and getting back and now, okay, well, this is like going to the US part 2. Let's see if we can redo this whole thing and that. So I think sharing that the journey of yours is also very, very, like, I think that's why I enjoy the content. If it's on Instagram or on the full long form on YouTube, it's fun to watch. It's a cool thing to follow.
Yeah, and I think it's something that I've tried to change lately, because it's so easy to try and create this perception of being a cool guy, and I hang out with all these awesome people, and this is how good I am at riding, this is how nice my bikes are, etc., etc. But I don't know, for me, I feel like today I'm a pretty down-to-earth person, and like, yes, I love having all those things, and yes, I am super fortunate to have some pretty badass dirt bikes and ride with some amazing athletes.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's like, I'm still a normal dude, and I just like love it, and I absolutely live for it, and I'm so passionate about it. So like, dude, posting that vlog and with the elbow injury that I had throughout it was just absolutely devastating, because it was like the next day I was about to go spend a month filming and digging, and like I really let some people down, and like for me that was super hard. And I was just so fortunate that the people that I was going to work for were super understanding and just knew that the risks and what I did, that there was a chance that was going to happen, even though like I never once went riding at Twitch's place thinking like, oh, there's a good chance I'm going to get hurt today. Like, I've ridden his place a heap of times. I've ridden his place on bikes I've never ridden before. Like, 75 to me is something that I'm pretty comfortable on, even if I do make a mistake, you know. And unfortunately, I did make a mistake. I went long, having both the elbows dislocate. It was just like the most insane, surreal feeling. And it took me a week before I even told my family. Like, I spoke to them a couple of times and just lied through my teeth, telling them I was just sweet, having a great time, blah, blah, blah. And here I was in 2 slings. It just, with arms that were in so much pain. But it got to the point where I got over that, and I'm like, hey, this is part of my journey, so stuff it. The world may as well know about it. And, you know, it's just another box for me to tick. I just want to recover now, and heck, the people can be part of this journey then. And it's like, it's a few back-to-back injuries, so it was a really hard pill to swallow. But again, it's part of my journey, man. I can't change it. So let's just throw it in there, and let's just show people how real it is and how gnarly and dangerous the sport is, even though we do become quite complacent. And I think that's a lot of the reason why I was injured, or got injured, was I was just a little bit too complacent.
Well, you touched on 2 interesting topics on that side, and the one is the whole how dangerous the sport actually is. I think, yeah, we want to always downplay it because you don't want to like have a misperception to new riders coming in climbing on a dirt bike that they won't get injured in that. But I've seen the misperception of guys seeing guys jump on Instagram, like at the George Motocross track that we have here in the local track that we built. Rudolph has his freestyle jumps there, and it's I think it's 21, and I think it's 16 to 21. So it's a perfectly, or if you're a beginner rider to learn to jump the gap and the bigger jumps and stuff like that. And you get guys that show up to the track and they like, oh no, I can jump that. I'm like, dude, like just go take your bike and stand in front of that jump. I've so many times just stood in front of the jump and see that. So I have so much respect for those guys jumping, because there's a misperception of going and like throttling and knowing that, like from that side, if you're standing on this side, you can't even see the other side. So there is definitely a danger on that side that you never take in consideration. And like, I mean, like it's probably not the best accolade to have, but you've gotten a few injuries in that side, and that's part of pushing the level in the sport, because you're not a guy just goes and, okay, this is a perfectly safe jump, I'm going to jump this and I'll be okay. You always push the stuff. I mean, you've put up some videos of you trying, like, what is that? With one of the tricks that you, like the flip and that, what is that called?
The alley-oop on the quarter pipe?
Yes, the alley-whoop and the quarter pipe. I mean, like, what normal free rider would say, hey, you know what, a cool video? I want to try that. And then you push yourself on that side. So what if you, what is the mindset and the thought process that you go through when you get an injury? Because it's not like if, I've made peace with it on my bike as well. Like, it's not like when I'm going to fall off and break something or whatever. It's like, not if, it's when, because you're going to, every time, if you do push, as soon as you start pushing faster through a corner or jumping a little bit more, then you realize like, oh, okay, cool. You know what? I can actually crash and die. And it was a perfect, you can't keep it in your mind. Like, I can't go to the track and like, I'm not come home from this, but like, you need to have that, like, okay, this can happen, and you need to take every precaution that you can. But what is your methodology behind that, or how do you treat that scenario? Obviously, you push it a lot more than the average person would.
Yeah, I think my biggest thing is I'm just a massive, massive believer in like everything happens for a reason. And if part of my journey is folding both my legs in half, or fracturing a sternum, or dislocating both my elbows, then whenever I've gone through something like that, at the other end, my life has always been better. So whether it's been that I've met people, whether I've found like a new love for a different sport, or whether I've learned more about my body, or whether I've got to spend more time with my family, there's always been a silver lining. And so for me, like, my biggest thing is just like, dude, you can just focus on your effort and your attitude. Like, you can't change it, but if you work hard, so if you put in a strong effort and you have a positive attitude, dude, like, sky's the limit. And with surgeons and things like that, and the doctors, their baseline is so low for recovery that if you just tick every single box they say, you're gonna succeed no matter what. And like so I would just use it as a goal. Like, okay, I'm gonna see this doctor in another 4 weeks. I'm gonna make sure no matter what bar they set for me, I was gonna be above that every single time. And I just put all my time and energy into that within every single injury. And if that means having an ice bath every day, if that means having a sauna every day, if that means walking around in circles in the shed for 3 days straight, then I'll do it. Like, I'm happy to tick every single box, because at the end of the day, the only person that's going to get anything out of that is me. Like, my body's got to be healthier in the long run if I'm not out drinking alcohol when I'm recovering from a serious injury. Like, I'm going to heal faster. I'm going to heal better. So it's like, for me, it's kind of a no-brainer. It's something that I've learned to accept through being in such a dangerous sport. And for me, like, I just get hell-bent on proving surgeons wrong. And not that that's maybe a positive way to look at it, but it's just the way the mental switch goes. Like, yes, motorbike riding is dangerous. Yes, you're probably going to get hurt. Like you said, it's not if, but probably a when. And when that happens, dude, just like flip that mental switch. You can't change it, but you can definitely have a positive attitude, and you can definitely work your ass off. And I can promise you, if you have those two things, sky's the limit, and you will recover for sure.
Dude, I don't think I've ever heard someone like say it in that sense where like the injury is also like part of your journey in that sense, because it makes so much sense in that, because yes, it does happen for a reason, and you might not know why you need to fall off the bike now or do this or that. Like that, yeah, like you would never know what would have happened if you had the perfect session there at Twitch's place and gone on to like just ride and be in the hills. Like there's no explanation. Like you can't, unfortunately, no one, we can't sit there. It's like, okay, what did that route entail for us? But now you're in this route and you're not sure what's going to hold on or what's going to happen or what could have happened if you gone the other route. So it's very, it's just, it's like, yeah, it's such a profound mindset to have about that side. And also then having the, like you said, the mindset of, okay, cool, yes, you first kept it quiet a little bit, but your family and all that, but then like, you know what, I need to share this with everyone. I need to tell people about like the part of the recovery and the proving doctors wrong. I remember I made a video on one of my friends. He broke his back racing cross country, also flat out hit a lurker, threw him over the bars, broke his back. And I still have a video in the video part in it that his girlfriend took, or his ex-girlfriend then took of him. And he said, yeah, what are you doing today? It's like, yeah, riding bike. It's like, yeah, why are you riding bike? Why haven't you been riding bike? No, stupid doctor said I can't ride bike. Because the doctors told him, like, dude, like you broke your back, dude, you're never going to ride dirt bikes again. And after that, he still went on and won the championship and the OR1 class and that. So going from breaking your back, like, no, I'm not going to do it, and still racing, like he still races today, and he's still like super fast today. Yes, he had some issues to go through and whatever, but the mindset of like proving doctors wrong, and then it's still part of your journey in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, absolutely. I think look, I've been fortunate enough to have a lot of great doctors and just get numerous and numerous opinions. And I think if I can give any advice to anyone who is injured or any advice to someone who may be injured in the future, get a few opinions from different surgeons, different doctors, different specialists, because if things do start to heal the wrong way, it's going to be 10 times harder to heal. And fortunately enough for me, I've had a lot of good advice, so I haven't had to go through any of that. But even though they are great surgeons, I still love to prove them wrong. And an example is when I had my bad quarter pipe injury, hyperextended both my knees backwards, having broken both tibias, having 2 multi-ligament knee reconstructions. Just after the last knee reconstruction, the surgeon came in the morning. And he's like, how you feeling, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, not too bad. I might have been a little bit overly optimistic, but I was like, I look forward to going for a run with you in 12 months' time. And he's like, look, that sounds great. I don't think that's realistic, but maybe one day we can go for a bike ride, around the lake or something. And I was like, okay, no worries. Like, mental note taken, like, game on, dude, game on. And and then 12 months later, dude, sure enough, we went and did a 5-kilometer fun run together. And it was pretty epic. But it was pretty epic. But it was just one of those things, dude, like head down, ass up, and like anything's possible. And yes, I probably shouldn't have been able to run considering the extent of the injuries, but I look back now and I'm so grateful for the work that I put in and seeing the physios that I did and ticking all the boxes that I did. I am now able, to ride dirt bike pretty normal and prove those doctors wrong. And now they have a story that they can inspire, other clients with, if someone just comes in with an ACL repair, they're like, dude, you'll be fine. Like, this is nothing. You know what I mean? Like, if you put in the work, this is nothing. And it's just like, I love trying to set the benchmark for myself. And if other people can use that and see inspiration on that, then it's like, dude, we're just ticking goals right here. Let's go.
Exactly. Well, the one thing that you touched on previously that I actually don't want to lose track of, and you said 2 things. Obviously, is the like it's part of your journey and stuff like that. But the backing of your partners and that know that it's it's part of your sport. Like it's not like okay, cool. Well, you're gonna like risk these things, and if you crash, I remember there was back in the day there was this whole thing of sponsors just dropping people when they get injured, and like if it's being racing or freestyle, wherever. As soon as someone get injured, like you kind of see that person drop off the map because now they're injured, they can't make there's no form of income or anything from that side, and also now they're injured, so they can't ride and do anything else. So like what is your how did you firstly find those type people, and then what is the whole situation? How do you feel the situation is currently like?
I think For me, it's a little bit unique because, you know, much like yourself, we're into the content creation as well. So it's like, okay, I might not be able to ride a bike for another month or two, but while I'm not riding a bike, I can still do shoots of my new gear rocking up. I can still do a new bike build, and on that bike build graphics is going to be all the brands that do sponsor me. As I'm doing a bike build or as I'm recovering, I can be wearing their products and things like that, or using their products. If it's a supplement brand, it really depends on what sponsor you're talking about. But for me, I'm really lucky, and I think a lot of people are as well. Like the content side of things is becoming more and more important, especially when, you know, unless you're like an Eli Tomac or something where you're just an absolute beast and your writing does all the talking. But for me, it's like it goes part and parcel. You know what I mean? Like, yes, my sponsors get athlete/ambassador, but they also get a content creator. So it's like, okay, if I'm not giving you guys enough attention on the bike, then I'm going to do everything I can off the bike. And if this is a problem, then let's have a conversation, because I want to be just as happy as you are, and I want this to work for us both. So I'm super fortunate. A lot of the brands I have been with, you know, have been sort of long term, like 4 or 5 years. But yeah, dude, it's just one of those industries where it is high risk, high reward. But I think gone are the days that you were talking of where, you know, someone will get injured, they'd vanish off the face of the earth for 6 months, and then they'd rock up at another race or a freestyle event. I think the time has changed a little bit, but again, it really depends. Like each person's so different nowadays, and each athlete and brand.
I think the what you mentioned actually now makes so much sense, and I think why so much more people need to embrace the content creation side. I know not everyone is a world-class photographer or videographer, but focusing on the content and still being able to provide value. I mean, like I've got a few brands that back me and that I've worked with, and I've now got a job with one of the brands that I used to work with, well, still work with. And the thing is it's I'm not a fast rider. I never went into any of these meetings and whatever and promised them results. I said to them, you guys are going to get content. I'll be able to make this. I'll be whatever you guys need from a content and a marketing perspective. And I think having that outlet, even if I do get injured, like you said, it's a thing of I can still provide value. And that's the part that that only clicked for me now, thinking that most of those guys that you never see of, they were the guys that like my riding does the talking, or me on the bike or in the car or whatever, that does the talking. And if they're not there, then you don't get to know, like you don't see them, or you don't like that. Those brands also get salty because like, hey, you can't provide value outside of you on the dirt bike, and you have no following or no like for instance, if I to go on live here, there's a few people from my following that's going to go on and watch this, and afterwards there's a few, because it's now like 8:45 in the morning in South Africa, so most people are at work, so people will see me posting this later and go and listen to it on Spotify. So even though I could have had 2 broken legs or whatever, sit here in a wheelchair and still be able to provide value to a sponsor or whatever through something like this, and actually that's the correct mindset to have.
Yeah, absolutely. And like whatever avenue that is. So for you, if it's podcasting, then go and lean into that. You know, I'm just huge on doing what, you know, works for you. Like some people are just great at talking and great podcasters, but they're not necessarily good at taking photos. You know, like I don't know how I'd go about having a podcast, but I know I can take a pretty good photo. So I'm going to lean into that. You know, I think it's just lean into what you're good at and what you enjoy at the end of the day, because if you're not going to enjoy it, it's going to become a burden, and then you feel like you're working for these brands and not working with these brands. There's like, I'm fortunate enough, like I feel like I'm working with these brands. Like if Thor sends me some new gear and I'm shooting some content, I'm hoping it goes on the website and stuff, because I want to work with them, because I want to showcase how epic their brand is. Or, you know, if it's a goggle company or so be it, whatever it is, Rival Link, a graphics company, they send me a new graphics kit, I want it to be everywhere. So I want everyone to see how sick it is.
Yes.
You know, and it's like, for me, that's taking photos, but for you, I might be talking about it.
And so the interesting thing, I started the podcast just because of purely connecting to people. Like so the initial is like, I always say to people on this part, if I went and told you like, hey dude, you want to have an hour-long conversation just randomly about like who you are and whatever, that would be kind of like an awkward conversation to have. But now I get to like ask you like your opinion on things and whatever, and I can leverage that to make it into a podcast. Like to me, technically, it doesn't matter how many people are in this live or how many people listen to it on Spotify. I got the chance to pick your brain about something cool, and like I always refer to this story. Mine was the third episode that we did on this podcast. I interviewed Ken Block when he was South Africa Gymkhana Grid. So I went and applied for the media access, and part of the media access was when you get the video passes, do you want to do interviews? And I'm like, hell, yes, I want to do interviews. I'm like, and then so I just ticked the box interviews. I thought there was going to be like a little panel where like you can put up your hand and ask whatever people. So I'm like, okay, sweet. I'm like, it's about it. Even if I just get to ask him something, or anybody of those drivers. And then it was 3 or 4 days later, I got an email back from their media representative. It's like, okay, here are the slots of, like, you can book 15 minutes with any of the drivers, like everyone, because there's a big media room. So they had a big hall with tables, and then all the drivers sat at the tables, and then you can have 15 minutes and 15 minutes, and you can move on between the one. And then top of the list, Ken Block. I'm like, I think I double checked that box. I'm like, Ken Block, I want my 15 minutes with him. So I always say that, like, I started the podcast with the whole thing of obviously being a fan of like Joe Rogan, listening to that long form for conversations there and that. And I thought, you know, it'd be cool to be able to interview people and shoot. Like, I don't think I'm good at this at all. I'm curious. I can ask questions and that. So my whole claim to the whole that is like, okay, cool. Well, my third episode of this podcast ever, without even knowing what I still had my laptop there with like a little USB mic connected to it and whatever. And then I got to interview Ken Block for 15 minutes on the third episode of the podcast. And to me, that was like, okay, well, dude, if you continue with this, you only going to continue meeting cool people on this journey, and then be able to interact with them. Because now, for instance, I restarted the podcast this year. With last year, I was just crazy busy with the vlog side and other clients, customer stuff and that. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to start doing the lives again, turning this audio into podcasts and doing that stuff, and be able to connect with like guys like you. Because I wanted to, I think I reached out to you about a year ago, even more. When I started following, like, dude, I want you on the podcast. And then I stopped with the podcast, and I was like, okay, shit, I can't interview this guy just because I want to interview him. I need to have a few episodes going. So I'm like, well, this is like, again, like, I didn't know where this journey was going to lead me. And now it's led me to, like, I think 4 seasons. I think it was almost like 50 or something episodes of people that I've spoken to, like random people that I would have never had the chance to talk to. I mean, like this conversation, like I would have had to flow to Oslo, hopefully seeing you, and there's even have like 10 minutes of conversation with you. And now we've chatted for 45 minutes already, and it's an interesting conversation to have. So the podcast, I always say to people, is a very selfish thing for me, because it's for me to get to know you and pick your brain, because you do something I think is cool. And that's why I called it Pro Funover, because like, you are a pro at like doing something that you love. You take film and the video side and the writing side, and you made it your job. And there's very little people that can say that they do something that, like, something extraordinary, and they get paid to do it. So it's a cool thing to chat to those people, because now people that watch this can gather a little bit of insight from you and be able to apply that to their own lives, and hopefully consistently for the next 2 whatever years with that, and also reach that goal.
Yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head there, and it's just like I was in, I guess, coming back to like my side of that, it's like I was in a trade for like 5 years doing a job that I didn't enjoy, you know, racing motocross nationally here, but I was like, I always felt like I was wasting time, or it wasn't right, you know. And then when I got injured on the quarter pipe thing, that's when I shifted a lot of my attention to like just doing content creation and just doing free writing projects and just doing content projects for me. And that's when, ever since that accident, as an example, I've like never felt like I've wasted a day. So it's like that comes back to like everything happens for a reason. And now, like, I literally am like a full-time, what is it, pro fun haver or something?
Yeah.
Is it pro fun haver? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, like I literally am. And like I just had this conversation with a friend today. Like sometimes like we almost feel guilty about that, because it's like, far out, so many people hate their jobs. And like, I'm so fortunate enough to have like seen both sides of it. Like, I had a job that I hated, and now I appreciate what I'm doing so much more, and I'm willing to work so much harder and like put in a lot of time into that into the vlogs and into my content, because I'm like, I never want to go back to that construction job. Like, I want to do what I'm doing. Like, I want to do my passion. Like, I want to create sick content, and I want to be the face of it, and so again, like even for me to have this conversation with you is pretty epic because I like to pick your brain on that. And like podcasts is something I'm really interested in. And like I've learned so much from, flying and listening to a podcast about other people who are scared to start a podcast or other people who are scared to, start their YouTube and go, okay, how did they get through that? So how can I get through that? And it's just like a constant learning thing. And then, we cross paths, like me and you, we cross paths and we can pick each other's brains in a sense. Like, yes, it might seem selfish for you, but I feel like no matter who they are, someone on the other end is going to get something out of that. And I mean, hopefully you get something out of this. I mean, I'm no killer block, but hopefully you get something.
No, no, dude. I think that's the main objective is why is like in anything pursuit that I do is trying to be have a curious mindset towards it, because you can always learn from anyone. I would say to people like even if someone that you don't like or content that you don't enjoy, like you can find out, okay, that's how I'm not going to do it. And that's the thing. If you see someone's photo, instead of going on the comments and saying, "Oh, this is a cock photo. I'm not going to take this or whatever. I'm not, like I don't like this or whatever." Like you say, okay, you know what? I'm never going to take that type of photo, or don't like take that and like learn from that sense or whatever. So everybody, like, doesn't matter if it's you or anybody that's in this live or whatever. There's something to learn from them, and like that's the mindset that I go into everything with, even with the riding, because I know I'm not an expert. I show up at the track and there's everybody in that paddock. We can go do laps and they'll 10-1 beat me on the track. I've made a video where I was at one of our local MX tracks where I got like roosted like countless times about a guy on the 85, a little kid on the 85. Who was saving it. I came through the corner and I was still because I bought the KTM 450 and I thought it was a big dog. I'm going to be on the 450 and learn to ride this thing and whatever. Slow as hell, like loading over the jump. This kid came flying past me and just roosted me like properly. And I was like, I made a video, got roosted on it with the 85 at the MX track. And like, there's something to learn from those people, and being humble enough to know that you don't know anything and listening to podcasts. That's why I'm obsessed with them. Like, I enjoy traveling long distances, and that just for the fact that I can focus on that podcast and listen to the podcast. I go and like, if I see I've got like 5 or 6 guys that I go and like, they automatically download to my phone. So it doesn't matter if I have signal or not. They'll be able to listen. I'll be able to listen to them and just consume the whole time. And sort of, because I always say to people like, yes, we can sit on the TikTok and just scroll, or Instagram and just scroll or whatever. But if you're not learning anything from that, then it's waste time. Then you can go to your screen time and say, yes, I was on my phone 5 hours today, but what have you gotten out of that 5 hours? Yes, sometimes it's just mindless entertainment, or I can go and follow a bunch of rad people that I enjoy and say, okay, but how did this guy make this video, and actually be like, try and figure it out. And that's how my photography started. I was like, how did this guy take this photo? Go to Google. Peter McKinnon, this and this and this. Okay,
dude, yeah. Oh, Peter, man. He's Peter McKinnon. If you're listening to this and you want to get into content creation, look up Peter McKinnon on YouTube. He's an absolute beast, and I learned so much from that guy, and I still like to chime into his stuff. I feel like he doesn't post as much anymore. Or maybe not like his 2-minute Tuesdays and things like that I used to really chime into. But yeah, like he's just a perfect example of just like followed a passion, and just collaborated with a lot of big people, and then just built up that massive, like, he's a superstar now, really, as far as like content creation and YouTube and things like that. And it's like, dude, you got to start somewhere. Hey.
Exactly. And that's the thing is find the people that inspire you, and instead of following like just random like funny accounts or whatever. Yes, that's also needed, but find even go make yourself a second account where you just follow, like, okay, maybe do it the opposite, where you make an account just for mindless scrolling, and then one where you actually pay attention to people and follow the right people and be able to engage with other people and stuff. Because I've always said to me, like, I made this joke, is you get people like always commenting like little fire emojis in the thing. So I've gone and made a thing where I comment, like reply on that, and I comment the fire truck and the firemen on there. Just because I'm like, that's such a mindless comment sometimes. And yes, I do it as well, but like, just like interact with people. Use social media you won't go in public and just go fire emoji and leave. You'll actually have a comment with someone. Yeah, like you'll actually like so maybe take the time and actually follow less people and interact with other people's content, because I want people to interact with my content. So that's what I'm gonna do. Like that's why if you post something cool, I'm gonna like, dude, this is so sick, whatever, I like the bike, that it made even if it's a small insight, it will mean a lot more than like having 50 comments of fire emojis on your post than actually someone saying could be cool. And I say to people, like, that's how you also get other people to notice you. Because if I go to some motocross guy or whatever's comment and there's like 50 like thumbs up and emojis and whatever, and then there's one guy actually making a cool comment or an insightful comment about your riding or something like that, that gets noticed. If you go and comment on Dean Wilson's flipping riding or whatever, he's going to see a bunch of stuff and he's going to see, oh, he has an actual text in this comment. And then someone will notice that in that sense. And I think providing value in that sense and being able to connect with social media, not just using it for mindless scrolling, can actually add value and teach you something. And like we both now, people say, yeah, social media is bad, but we've both watched Peter McKinnon and learned how to edit and take photos from a guy like that, so it's technically not all bad.
No, it's not. And algorithms are huge on that, dude. Like, if you start watching some like self-help videos, it's gonna feed you self-help videos.
Yes.
If you're watching stupid shit, it's gonna feed you plenty of stupid shit. You know, and it kind of just like what you lean into. And like, I mean, we all go through peaks and valleys of like, dude, I'm motivated, I'm inspired, I want to be the best version of myself. And we all go through plateaus where we do just find ourselves in these scroll holes and things like that. But it's just super important to be conscious of that, and like what you're feeding yourself, dude, is just so important. And who you're surrounding yourself by is just as important. Like, I feel like we're such products of our environments, and if you're around people who are complaining or badasses or lazy people, like if you're surrounded by 4 of them, there's a good chance you're the 5th one. You know, if you're surrounded by 5 absolute savages, there's a good chance you're the 6th. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things. It's just like surround yourself with who you really want to be, and I think that's a massive part. And social media is included. Like, dude, if you follow people who inspire you and make you want to be the best version of yourself, then that's going to help that. And if you follow people who are just out partying all the time, and then there's a good chance you're probably going to lean into that when it might not necessarily be the best thing for you right now.
Yeah, I made a joke. One of our local riders, like he's a proper goon. Like he's so talented on a dirt bike. Like you can, like he's there. I hope he's in there watching it. Adriano, he's such a goon. He's such a cool guy. And the one day I said, like, he was also like, yo, he wants to make more content and this. So I said to him, like, dude, okay, give me your Instagram. And then I went to his explore page, and it was basically chicks and chicks on dirt bikes. That's all that was on his explore page. And I'm like, I don't know what. Yeah, I said, dude, that's what you're consuming. And I'm not dissing him or anything like that. I'm not saying that's what you're consuming. So if that's what you want to create, by all means, if you want to be that type of photographer, no problem at all. But if you want to make dirt bike content, if you want to be like, oh, okay, cool, I want to make freestyle content. I want to be like a Twitch or whatever, have this blog, have this cool content and stuff like that, then that's the type of content you need to consume. Yes, there's no like shame in watching that or following those type of people and stuff like that. But if you want to consume what you, like you said, exactly what you said, what you take in through social media, through reading, through the people that you interact with, that's what you're going to produce outward. And if you're not watching that, then yeah, that's unfortunately that's now the thing that you're consuming. That's what you're going to put out. So that's unfortunately how that algorithm works.
So funny that we sort of got on this topic, because I had a conversation with a close friend today about this, and we're talking about like, you know, who we follow and things like that and how that can affect you. And, you know, 10 years ago, if I was following someone who maybe had like quite a negative impact on my life, I wouldn't have done anything about it, you know. But if I scrolled through their stuff, like I would have, you know, not felt sick in the stomach, but it would have just given me like a negative feel. And like every time I'd see their stuff, I would, you know, I don't really know how to explain it, but you know what I mean? Like you just see it and it's like, oh, and you keep sort of scrolling. I'm now at the point in my life where if someone makes me feel like that, I'm like, dude, I'll just unfollow you. Like, I don't want to see your stuff. Like, I don't need to have a negative effect on my day. And I think little things like that, as minute as what they may seem, can make such an impact into like your everyday life and how you actually feel. And, you know, just by taking little actions like that seem almost pointless can actually have like a huge positive effect in your life in the future, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I've said to people like I've heard people that say no, but they follow this person, but they'll just mute that person. I'm like, no, don't mute the person, because what is the point of it? Just unfollow them completely. Because if you go, like you said, if you go on social media and you go like, oh, this lucky person, like I can't believe I follow this person, just go to their account and follow. Even do them a favor and go remove yourself as one of their followers and completely forget about that person at all. Because the last, I don't know, it's probably, let's say 5 years or so, I've been very like aware of energy and stuff like that. And it sounds like very Buddhist and all that things, but it's just about that. I've noticed that, and my girlfriend's taught me, though, my fiance, she's going to kill me if I say girlfriend, but the energy that you take in, like, I mean, after this, I am going to be so productive after this conversation now because of the energy that we've shared on this thing. And if you go outside and people give you a bad energy, whatever, even if someone gives me bad energy today, this conversation has now helped me so much to go forward in that, where I think it's going to be a great day from there on. I'm going to be very productive. I'm going to smash through my to-do list for today. I'm going to maybe even go riding this afternoon, just because of the motivation that you get. So if you can follow people like that, why do you even pay attention to like the bad stuff of social media, the echo chambers that are on social media? And like, sometimes I get frustrated. I always say, like, Joe Rogan is one of the people that inspire me and motivate me so much with these insights and that. But sometimes I even go and stop and forward through his conversations and stop listening to somebody when he goes on his rants of flipping the left and the Tifa. I don't know what the hell he goes on. I'm just, okay, you know what? I can't listen to this podcast. If I see it's some political person, I don't even download it because I know it's going to start making me think about our political things and the problems and stuff that we have, and that's not what I want from his podcast. So I'll listen to him and Cam Hanes or him and whatever they talk about, like motivation. Then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go hit the gym, smash my goals today.
I won't be able to walk for a week, but dude, I'll hook in for one day. So I totally agree. And on that energy point, dude, I'm huge on that stuff. Like, your vibe attracts your tribe, dude, and I'm surrounded by some pretty epic human beings, and I think that just comes back from trying to be one yourself. You know, just trying to be the best version of yourself. As cliche as what it sounds, and as cringy as those things sound, and then it comes back to the other side of the social media. Like, okay, someone makes you feel ill or you hate seeing their face. Like, okay, that's all well and good. Get rid of them. But then when someone makes you feel good, let them know about that. Like you said, write that comment. Like, moto and that industry is so small. Like, if you don't like someone, get rid of them. But then the next person you do like, make sure you like their content. That's going to help the algorithm. That's going to help get out there. Comment on their content. That's going to help. You know what I mean? Our sport is so small, and our egos, and it's like in any sport, you see someone, you're like, oh, you're a bit jealous of you, you're a bit insecure, or I'm not going to like that. You know, but putting your ego on that aside, you're like, hey, dude, I'm actually helping our sport. The more people that like these posts about this sport, the more people are going to see this, and, you know, it's going to get fed out into hopefully a bigger audience, so then we can have more money in this industry, and we can all, you know, make some decent money from whether creating podcasts or creating content or doing bike builds, you know, whatever it is. And I think, you know, there's such two sides to that. If there's a negative one, okay, get rid of it, mute it, do whatever you need to do, unfollow it. But if there's a positive one, share that content, like, comment, you know what I mean? I think that's just as important as getting rid of the negative stuff.
No, 100%. It's like the more you feed something, the more it'll grow. And then if you feed the negative, that side's going to grow. And if you feed the positive side, and whatever you put in there that's what you're going to get out of that. And that's true for everything and anything that you do. So now on that sense, like, I want to kind of like in this orphanage, we've touched on a hell of a lot of cool topics and stuff, but if you had like rules you live by, like there's like, even doesn't matter, like if you need to constantly remind yourself, not like the cliche live, laugh, whatever rules and stuff, like you need to. But that's just it could be a one-liner. It could be a quote that you remind yourself of, like when you're down or were happy or whatever. Like, what is that one thing that you constantly remind yourself of that you wish like other people can also start implementing?
Man, I think I touched on it earlier, and I can't really seem to get past it. And that's just, like, there are two controllables in this world. It's like your effort and your attitude, and that's it. Like, if you can just, 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 like when you're down in the dumps, you're like, dude, I can't control that it's raining right now. I can't control that, my legs are hurting right now, but I can control that I can go have an ice bath, and I can control my attitude towards that. You know what I mean? Effort and attitude to me, dude, are just absolutely huge. And we all, like I said before, have peaks and valleys. There are going to be times like today, you're like, we're both pumping right now. Like I want to have a gym session now. You know what I mean? But it's just like from that energy. But there are times when we're not. You know what I mean? There are times that you're going to wake up, you're tired. And dude, there are times right now, like I'm recovering from an injury. I'm sore. And like I could think of a million excuses why I'm not going to go to the gym and not do my rehab. But at the end of the day, that's going to be detrimental to my future. So if I focus on my effort and if I focus on my attitude, in the future, I'm going to be the best version of myself.
Dude, 100%. I think you could have said it more. Like effort and attitude is like the only two things you can control in this world. And like, yeah, but that's such a nice topic to like end it off with. There's like the two things you control. Doesn't matter in what avenue you're, those are the things you can control. And like, yeah, like you don't have to worry about like anything else going forward further. Like that, what happens. Like that's not you writing the story. It's you reacting to it.
100%.
Dude,
yeah, couldn't agree more.
So for the people that are on here, and like some of my followers that don't follow you and stuff like that, just plug away. Where can people find you? Obviously on Instagram here, but what is your YouTube channel called and stuff? On Spotify I'll put links down below on like everywhere that people can find your content and stuff and that. But firstly, where can they find you, and what is your upcoming projects and stuff that you're busy with?
So upcoming projects are first and foremost recovering. We're going to get this body healed up, and I should be on the bike within the next month. So yeah, man, I've actually got 2 big filming projects for me on the bike that I'm working on this year. I'm going to be on a new manufacturer, so I've got some really exciting things happening in the real near future. If you want to follow along, look me up on Instagram, Prutti99, or you can see me on YouTube, Prutti. It's Prutti. You'll find me on there somewhere. There'll be a bike build, there'll be a vlog. There'll be me getting injured, no doubt. But there's definitely going to be a story or two told.
Awesome, dude. No, thanks for taking the time. I know it's scheduling with the time zones and everything has been a mission. Like it's always like, I don't know why, but I always find Aussies to have when I have on the podcast, and it's always that 8-hour delay between the two of us. So it's fun. Thanks for taking the time and that. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing the content. I'm always inspired about what you do and the stuff that you put out. So no, like just keep on keeping on, man.
Likewise, man. I really appreciate you taking the time and reaching out, dude. I know this has been a long time coming, so I'm really stoked to do it. And dude, you're a vibe. So good luck with it all. This is sick.
Thanks very much, man. We'll keep in touch.
All right, legend. See ya.
Cheers.